right, so Wyatt, tell us about what's going on. You got a concert coming up here
I
in
do.
Bristol tonight, and then tell us about another one that's coming up.
Yeah, so tonight over at the birthplace, I'm doing a show with my band, and it's going to be a really fun time.
Okay, so I know you're punching pretty heavy weight class. You played on the Grand Ole Opry. Well, I mean, tell me,
Yeah,
what was that like? And you stand in that circle that everybody talks about.
yeah.
What was it like?
So the first time I stepped on the stage was with Daly and Vincent, actually, and I was playing mandolin for them for 2 nights, and just walking out and seeing the circle was pretty amazing. But back in November, I went on under my own name and made my artist debut, and that was just even more mind blowing for me.
So when was that like when you were little? Was that a dream?
Oh, definitely. Ever since I started, and even probably even before I started playing, yeah.
So what went through your mind when you walked out onto that stage? Were you nervous?
The first time I was a little bit nervous, but that wore off.
Right? And so when you get up there and you see that crowd that's at the Grand Ole Opry, and this is like the Super Bowl of
Yeah,
country music,
there's definitely no other crowd like it. It's the building is engineered to be loud, and it's just really a special experience.
and so I understand you get to hang out backstage with some names that people are pretty familiar with. Tell us about what that was like.
Yeah, so I've got to hang out with Vince Gill and Mark O'Connor, and of course I love picking with Daly and Vincent every time I go play with them. It's always a fun experience jamming backstage at the Opry.
So tell me how this whole thing started. Somewhere somehow you decided that you want to play mandolin. What happened?
Yeah, so the first time I heard the mandolin was in the hands of Bobby Osborne, the mandolin legend. And soon after that, I heard Bill Monroe play it, and then I was hooked for good.
What song got you hooked?
Oh man, I think the first song on the mandolin I ever heard was Rocky Top, but the first Bill Monroe song I ever heard was "Working on a Building," the gospel song, and that really got me into it.
Tell us about your album. And I know it's gotten a lot of publicity, and you've got to be like on Sirius XM talking about it and hearing yourself on the radio. Tell
Yes.
us about what that's like.
Yeah, so going on Sirius XM and hearing myself for the first time on that radio was, an experience I probably will never forget.
And what inspired you to? These are tell everybody these are original songs, right?
They're all originals or co-writes, co-writes with some of my biggest mandolin mentors and heroes, 12 of them actually.
Wow. So what went into it? I mean, was it just sitting down and working this out, or just talking about what your
Yeah.
project was? How
So
did it
like
come about?
back in the shutdown, all these mandolin players were great mandolin players were stuck at home, and I was able to connect with them online, and that's how the tunes came about. And once I had, 100 tunes or so, we kind of got to thinking maybe it was time to do an album.
Okay. So at 15, right? That's
Yeah.
all. Now what? Like you've been on the biggest stage in country music. You're continuing to play big festivals like Rhythm and Roots. Where do you see yourself going with this?
I just want to try to keep in touch with the roots of traditional bluegrass and country music, and but also like keep trying to push it forward and keep a new edge on it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of new music sometimes from that genre. So it's really refreshing to see
Definitely,
that.
yes.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from some of your heroes?
Yeah, so some awesome feedback I've actually gotten, from Marty. We've sat down and talked about how it was important, you know, that there was new music coming out and, new mandolin tunes.
Wow. Tell us about your band.
Yeah, so I've got a full 5-piece bluegrass band, and we try to play the good old traditional bluegrass music that not many people play nowadays.
What kind of places do you like to play? Do you like festivals or more theater settings or
Anywhere, I love playing anywhere.
okay, so anywhere is good.
Oh yeah.
Talk to us about what it's like being in Bristol and getting to perform a couple of places here and knowing the history of the
Yes.
music here.
Yeah, so the music, country music, and was born here, and after that, so many great legends have passed through here, like the Osborne brothers with Jimmy Martin. They played on a lot of shows back up in here back in the day, and just so much history.
What goes through your mind like when you went to that museum and saw all these legendary, and I understand there's actually in Knoxville an exhibit that features you and some of your history and how
Yeah.
you've kept this alive. Tell us where is that, and tell us what
Yeah,
that
so that's
exhibit
at
is.
the East Tennessee. I think it's the History Center, East Tennessee History Center, and it's right in downtown Knoxville. And I've got my exhibit in there, and it's got Bobby Osborne's first mandolin that he ever played is in there, and that's a mandolin I love to play a lot. And I've got the outfit I wore when the first time I played the Opry. That's in there as well.
How does that feel going there and seeing that, being part of history?
Oh, it's so cool. And that first song I played, Blue Smoke, is actually playing on the video over the exhibit.
One other question. Okay, so what else is on your bucket list? I mean, obviously the Opry would be on probably everybody's, but from there, what other places? Where would you else? Would
You know, I'm playing at Rhythm and Roots coming up, which has been a dream of mine. But there's so many awesome venues I've played at, and so many I haven't. But I just can't wait to keep on the road and keep playing new places.
right? What do at the end of the show, like an average show, what do people come up and talk to you? What do they tell you about your performances?
They just love that I'm keeping the traditional music alive for the most part.
And what's the message that you would want to give your fans?
Hmm. You know, I just like to, like I said, just be able to keep the music that's not being played every day in touch while creating kind of a new style. And I think people love that, and I want to keep doing that.
Right. Tell everybody how to reach you on socials and things like
Yeah,
that.
you can find me on Instagram as Wyatt Ellis Mandolin, and Facebook as well. And I've got a website called WyattEllis.com.